Hello, everybody. I hope you all doing well. I'm gonna give it a second there for people to join. I'm gonna be live in a second there. So it's Friday at last. I hope the week has been good for you. Starting from Sunday or starting from next week, we're gonna be actually closer to January 1st, 2024 than January 1st, 2023. Times fly. So, have you seen by the title? Today, I want to talk about the X-Flower game engine. AG Piquet made a video about it this week. Let me turn that off. I don't know if it's gonna make noise in the. Yeah, AG Piquet made a video about it this week, and it was the first time I heard about the X-Flower game engine, and I found the concept quite interesting. So I wanted to. I played a bit with it this week because, like, in the way AG, I didn't read the book. I put a link in the description down below. I didn't look at it myself, but from the way that AG described it, there was a few things that I was like, you know what, maybe I would do it slightly differently. So if you're not familiar with it, let me just share that here. So the X-Flower engine, you got like a hello Doodle Squatch and hello the Crafting Gamer. Thank you for joining. So in the X Flower engine, you got this arrangement of X there, which with a central X and basically two X in every direction. So it's an X of X, basically 19X in total. And you got those direction dial, and this is already something I changed a bit because in the design presented by AGPK, the you got 12 at the bottom, and here it's 6 and 7, and then you go like so it's go like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Can you see my cursor? Yeah, you can. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I thought that putting the 2 and the 12 here at the bottom together, first it wrap up the circle a little better, and also it hey Francis, shh. And also it mathematically it's I find it's a little cleaner as well because otherwise it's skewed on one side, um, because you have as much chance of getting a 2 as a 12, like it's 1 in 36, and the 7 is already like 1 in 6 chance. So putting them together here is 1 in 18, and then it recentered the bell curve a little bit better. Putting 6, 7 together is bad math. And you get like the two direction, like one if you, because you have you're gonna have a character start in the middle there, and you're gonna roll 2d6, and depending what you get, you're gonna move on the grid. Like if you roll a 7, you're gonna move up this way. If you go roll a 5 or a 6, you're gonna go this way. And the goal of the X flower is to exit the grid up, and not exit the grid down. And you got those two those two dial here, and if you're in a situation that advantage you, you're gonna roll on the one that's gonna favorize with pushing you up. If you're in the disadvantage situation, you're gonna roll the other one that's gonna push you to one that goes down. And it's interesting way to do a random chart table in the basic let me move that away. In the basic X flower, the flower is numbered. So, and it's basically a random chart table where stuff is gonna happen, and you're always gonna have like stuff that happen based on where you're what you're close to the flower there, what other X you are. So you're not gonna go from two things. You can control basically what things, like, oh, if something happen, those things are likely to happen next, and if this thing happen, then those things are likely to happen next. I made a one thing also that I didn't like, because in the way that AG presented it, he presented it with the, like, I put the video for AG's video as well in the description. Hello Gary D20, welcome, and Shadow and Fog and folks, Shadow and Sun. Wow, nice seeing you. And he made like a judicial trial where the judge would have a decision one way or the other, like you parties found innocent or guilty, and the event on the list would determine if you would switch from one, if you would roll in a way that benefits you or in a way that hinders you. And I thought like, well, this should be linked to some kind of role play or to a character skill or like some kind of like a the player maybe should try to make a role or make an action. I tried thinking about here like don't worry too much about it. I was just like playing with it. I try like say what if I would do like a rooftop chase for example, uh, and you want to so different thing could happen like oh you now you have to make a climb check. If you succeed you can roll on the in a way that advantage you. If you don't you're gonna roll in a way that disadvantage you. So I think that's already something that I would change from the game from the Explorer engine. I would make, and I think I don't know if this is something they don't do at all, but the I would make the decision of if you roll with advantage or not based upon what the characters actually do. Could be through roleplay, could be through skill. That whoops, that's not what I want to do. That's what I want to hide. The next thing I wanted to look at because this can also be used as just as a skill. You don't have to do random table chart at all if you don't want to. You can just say like, okay, you're in a trial, you're gonna be found guilty or you're gonna be found innocent. You start in the middle, and then every round somebody can try something to shift the situation, to break the statu quo. So if you do something that and you do it well, may it be through role play or maybe there's a role involved. That doesn't matter depending on your type of play. Then you roll on one or the other of the circle. And one thing that I don't like is if the exit point are only on this X or only on this X. Because I think this is gonna take a long time to reach. And although I think this mechanic could be interesting, I think it'd be better if it's used shorter. And then I thought about, we have those. I would do it like that. I don't know why my font changed like that with the outline. I would say that every X is a possible exit point. So you just basically have to exit the flower. And the direction in which you exit the flower would impact would impact the outcome of the situation. And I went with the classic yes and yes, yes but, no, no and. So basically like yes and is like the characters achieve what he was trying to do and got more. It's basically like a critical success. Yes would be a success. Yes, but is a partial success. No, but is a partial failure. So, yes, but you kind of got what you want, but not quite all of it, or there's some drawback. You had to compromise in some way. No, but you didn't get what you want, but it wasn't all bad. So, if you were like on a judicial trial, to keep that example, the yes and would be you've been found innocent, and the judge turned on the people accusing you, and now they're facing their own trial or whatever. The yes would be you've been found innocent, and then you're free to go. Yes, but it's being like you've been found innocent, but I don't know, maybe like there was a lot of innocent on most charge, but something a little something, a slap on the wrist, something like that. No would be you've been found guilty, but again the punishment is very light. It's more like symbolic. No, you're found guilty. No, and you're found guilty, and they throw the book at you, really. So this is one way I would play with the X flower there, just make it like exit on all the side basically, and also just because like there's on 19X organized in a X like that, there's like 30 edge that touch the exit, then it would just like the yes and then the oh no and only have 3 edge that push them out, but everything else has 6. So I thought mathematically I thought it was interesting. It fit like geometrically, if it will. So this is also something that I thought about. I thought maybe you don't want to start in the middle. Maybe you want to start somewhere else than in the middle. So I say, what if we were to, at the start of the conflict, you roll d6, and you're gonna start in one of the x around the middle. That could be interesting as well. You're in a trial, to keep that example. Maybe the judge is gonna be biased one way or the other. So you can roll but at d6 it's kind of linear, it's kind of boring. And maybe you could be in the middle. So what if you do a d12 and now there's still a bias, and the bias toward yes n and no n is a little lesser. You can still be in the middle. So maybe that's one way to do it. Or 2d6, because since you roll on you move on the chart with 2d6, and reaction roll in OSR games are made with 2d6, I thought maybe we should stick with that. And then you would have like a chart like that again, the direction toward yes n and no n, or less heavily weighted. You're more weighted toward the middle. So that's something that could be done as well. Alternative News Network. I have to watch the Aegis vid and circle back to this replay. Have a great weekend, folks. Yeah, you should watch it. I put the link in the description below. It's a good video. I like Aegis stuff. Um, what else? Mm-mm-mm. I played with the type of X as well. Let's take off the exit there just to make it more clear. I say maybe you would want to have a flower that would always tend to bring you back to the center. Maybe you're trying to do something different. Maybe what you want is not to exit. And because they were talking about terrain generation, or maybe social relation, or maybe reaction to people, personality trait, doesn't matter. Maybe you want something to always to bring you back to the middle. You can figure out situation that would be like if you were to do you could put like 6 personality trait of a character, and you roll on them and see how it goes. But so if you're in the yellow, you roll on the yellow chart, so it's always going to bring you back to the center, toward the center. If you're in a white, you just roll on the one you rolled previously. I think that could be an interesting way to do it. That could lead to interesting outcome. Could be useful in something. And I thought about like terrain, and I didn't put it all there, but you could use that like well, if I do it with the roll towards center, like you could say like, okay, there's a settlement in the middle, and what's gonna be around the settlement. Then you can have like, if you go in the forest, and in the Explorer book there is something about the terrain, so I didn't go too deep into that. That I would look in the book how they do it first, but it was just like throwing some idea there. And I thought maybe you don't want to roll toward the center. Maybe what you want is to stay in place. What if you want to mostly repeat the last result? Then you could use this kind of like, instead of rolling 2d6, you roll a d10, or you can go with a d12 and you can weight it however you want. But so now every side is heavily weighted, and the center is every side is evenly weighted, and the center is like, in that case with a d10 would be like 40% of the time, sorry, you would stay in place. So and you just repeat. So if you're in the forest and you roll a 7 to 10, then you're still in the forest in the next X. You it's gonna make cluster in a bit, like it's gonna remember where you are, and it's gonna repeat the. So every time you move to something else, then you're gonna stay in that thing for a little longer. That could be something you can. I said with terrain, could be with different thing. Maybe you want to do river that flow, or maybe you want to do like a herd of beasts that's gonna move around an X map. What if you were to do, they keep the momentum, like the direction that they went through would they would most likely keep going through. So I made that. This would be something that you would I would cut out the little like navigation chart, and then you just rotate it according to the direction that you last went. So if you rolled a 5 or a 6, you just rotate the whole thing for look at that. I can't even like do that. You just rotate the whole thing like 30 degree, and then you 60 degrees, sorry, and then you would move. Now this is your 7 direction. So the 7 direction always become the last direction that you roll. So if you if whatever you're trying to figure out a direction is going for is going in one direction, is gonna most likely keep going in the same direction, then a little less likely go in an adjacent direction, and only 1/18 chance that it's gonna go back on itself and turn around. So this is also something you could play with. And so this was a I don't know different idea I had with this concept of X flower that I thought could be interesting and could have like a interesting ramification. So my favorite is the one with the those different exit there. I think that could be very useful for skill test. And let's look at the chat here. Authoritative news networks say interesting. Oh, I already did that. Doodle Squatch say, could you use this for research and invention process for sci-fi or super game? Yeah, that could be very interesting because even with research, even if you were to go with something like that, the yes and you figure out what you manage to invent what you're trying to invent, and it's even better, or you find something else that's very useful in the process. The yes, you figure out what you invent. Yes, but yeah, it kind of worked, but there's a big drawback. There's a drawback. No, but you didn't figure out what you were looking for, but you did figure out something else that could be useful with some research. No, I know, and no, and not only you didn't, but maybe you injure yourself in the process, or maybe you, depending on your setting. Yeah, so this would be a way to do it. Good afternoon, Flady. Shauner asked the real question: how fast is this mechanic if used in game session? I would say very slow. I would say that wouldn't be like a. It wouldn't be something that you need to be kind of committed to this. You're gonna have like one task is gonna be resolved with a few roll. It's gonna be drag along a bit. I think this system with the that every side is an exit is definitely faster than if you just try to exit on this one X or this one X. So that's part of the reason why I did that. But it's gonna be a little less meandering. But yeah, it's not gonna be something that's gonna be fast, and it is something that is fairly mechanical. So again, it kind of give you it could get you out of the role play. Uh, I guess you could even like maybe the GM could use that kind of you could integrate it and just like keep it track of yourself. You don't necessarily expose it too much to the player. You just like as the player role play, you can use that as a tool for yourself to decide where the action is gonna go, and that wouldn't slow because every round the player tell you like you say where they're at and what they're doing, and then you can educate according to that. Oh, is that like a positive? I'm gonna roll in the positive, the negative. You roll, and then at some point you say, okay, this happened. You could do that, but it. I would say this is probably not for you, Shauner. For quest building, you could use that as well. Or like I said, like I talk about, if you're trying to do your X map, you can do that. You can put like terrain, terrain idea, and so you just roll on the map, and it's gonna be likely that the terrain you're at, the next terrain you're gonna explore next to it, is gonna be like logical for it to be next to it more than if you just roll, because that's the advantage of that. Is like it's the result you're gonna get is gonna be more logical than if you just roll on a purely random chart, because now you're gonna get one of six results that are adjacent to the X you run, instead of rolling on a D20 chart and then, oh, okay, I'm in a forest and then the X right next to it is a desert. That kind of make no sense, and you could avoid that with this. It's basically like every X got its own random chart of six possible results. Yeah, like I said, like I think that would be fairly slow in the game. Um but and that's for you to know your table and know what kind. If you were in a group that like things that are a little more mechanical and likes to play with those kind of mechanic, if they're the table that get excitement from rolling dice, and I just found it was like an interesting mechanic. I don't even know if I would use it myself. I just found it was an interesting mechanic, and I wanted to play with it a bit, because I like to think about game design and I like to look at mechanic and figure out where could we get that and what is the implication of those mechanic. So this is about what I wanted to talk about today. If you have any other question, you can feel free to put them there in the chat. Let's take that off the screen so you can see me in big. So yeah, that's the X Flower. Go look at the AG Pickett's video in the description below. You can look at the document by it's Daniel Sell and Goblin's Henchman that made it originally, the X Flower, and they have like a pay as you want document on Drive Through RPG. The link is also in the description, so you can look that up for yourself. Maybe I did expose stuff here in this video that they addressed already, because like I said, I didn't read the document. I watch AG's video and I say, you know what, I want to play with that a bit. So that's it. That's what this video was about. And I would just want to say, tomorrow at 1500 EDT, so that's 3 p.m. Eastern for American, I'm gonna receive Greg from Chronicle of Iris on my RPG design talk show. So join us then. I hope you're gonna be there in great number. And also for July is coming, and Professor Dungeon Master was saying that he wanted to make July indie designer kind of month. So, or we don't cover WotC, we cover like smaller producer and stuff like that. And this is something already a lot on my channel. I like to talk about. I like to talk with indie game developer. That's why I have like the RPG design talk. Can you hear that? I'm sorry, the dog is coughing now. I like to have like the RPG design talk where I talk to independent game designer about their creative process and stuff like that. So it's already something that's kind of a theme, I guess, on my channel. And I do like to talk about game mechanics and smaller game. I barely talk about anything WotC, except when they do a big gaff. But maybe I'm gonna jump on this independent game or independent designer month, and I'm probably gonna try to do every Friday. I have like this how to play series. I already did like how to play Pendragon and how to play the Burning Wheel. So I'm probably gonna do every Friday for the month of July. I'm gonna try to do a how to play video. The first one is gonna be Pax Lupurum, which I talked a bit about a few weeks back, which is made by King Waspinator of Total Party Skill. And I'm probably gonna do one for Cow Puncher as well by the Basic Expert. I don't know after that where I'm gonna go. If you have an idea for independent game that you think are interesting mechanically, uh, shoot them my way. I like to look at games, especially something that is not OSR, because I do how to play video which are very based on mechanics and stuff like that. If it's a D20 game, if it's basically like D&D, I cannot really cover that. Not in that series, because I'm in that series. It's really about mechanics. I don't talk about setting. I don't talk about the idea or the concept of the game. I don't do game review really. So, but if you have like a game that you know is an independent game, got got different mechanics, and that could use how to play video, so shoot them to me. Also, if you are a game creator, I want to talk to you. Like I got this RP design talk show. Shoot me a line. Come on the show and talk to me about your creative process, how you go about it, and what you're working on, and how do you work. So this is about what I want to talk today. So the X Flower, and then some announcement for the future for the month of July and for what's coming up. So thank you for joining. I'm gonna end the stream now. Ungar might or might not go live. If he does, go watch him out. Other than that, you can watch the AGP Cats video down in the description. Have a good day and take care.